You're tuned to Arrow FM, your local community access radio station. The time now, 8 o'clock, time for another hour of the great music that came out in the 1960s with the 60s Nostalgia Show. The 60s Nostalgia Show is kindly sponsored by Cotter and Stevens, the electrical contractors down in Jellicoe Street in Martinborough. Electricians and general contractors in the electrical field, whether that be private or commercial, and they're also pretty dab hands around the dairy sheds as well as other parts of other types of farming. So if you've got an issue with anything to do with the old electricity, give Cotter and Stevens a ring and they'll sort it out. Tonight on the show I was planning to do a hit parade from somewhere from the 1960s, in fact this week in 1961, but that changed with the sad news of the passing of Jerry Marsden of Jerry and the Pacemakers. So I thought we would dedicate at least half the program to the songs of Jerry and the Pacemakers, and then we will flip over and play some songs from 61 years ago. So be some great songs on the program tonight, and the song playing at the moment, Al Kiola and his orchestra, the theme to The Magnificent Seven, was at number 27 on a hit parade in New York 61 years ago. I timed that well. So Al Kiola and The Magnificent Seven. Yes, of course, very sad news early this week with the death of Jerry Marsden of the Pacemakers, and he died on the 3rd of January, aged 78. One of the greats from the Liverpool scene, no question about that, and a group that is probably seen to be a little underrated, but Jerry Marsden started a skiffle band in Liverpool in the late 1950s along with his brother Freddie, who was the drummer, and they did do a stint over in Hamburg like a lot of the groups from Liverpool, and then as the Liverpool scene advanced, so did Jerry and the Pacemakers, and they were in fact the second Liverpool group that was signed by Brian Epstein, and they were also signed to the EMI group on the Columbia label. They do hold a couple of records, one which has been equalled, and the other one that will never be beaten, and that one was the first Liverpool group to have a UK number one, and that happened in 1963. They snuck in ahead of the Beatles. The song that hit number one was How Do You Do It? And that was the song that George Martin originally wanted the Beatles to record, but the Beatles weren't too happy with that song. They wanted to record one of their own, so they made such a mess at the recording that George Martin decided he'd get someone else to do it, and it was given to Jerry and the Pacemakers, and that was their first hit, and as I said, the first hit from a Liverpool band.
How do you do what you do to me? I wish I knew. If I knew how you do it to me, I'd do it to you. How do you do what you do to me? I'm feeling blue. a clue. You give me a feeling in my heart, like an arrow passing through it. Suppose that you think you're very smart, but won't you tell me, how do you do it? How do you do what you do to me? If I only knew, then perhaps you'd fall for me like I fell for you. A feeling in my heart, like an arrow passing through it. Suppose that you think you're very smart, but won't you tell me, how do you do it? How do you do what you do to me? If I only knew, then perhaps you'd fall for me like I fell for you when I do it to you.
Well, they didn't make the songs very long in those days, did they? How do you do it? The other record that they held, and they held this one for quite a while, was that they were the first English act ever to have their first 3 singles reach number 1 in the UK charts, and that was only equalled in the 1980s by, coincidentally, another group from Liverpool called Frankie Goes to Hollywood. So the second hit they had, the follow-up to the song we just played, is a song called I Like It.
I like the way you tickle my chin, and I like the way you let me come in when your mama ain't there. I like it, I like it. I like the words you say and all the things you do, and I like the way you straighten my tie, and I like the way you're winking your eye, and I know I like you. You know I like you. Do that again. You're driving me insane. Kiss me once more. That's another thing I like you for. I like it, I like it. I like the funny feeling being here with you. And I like it more with every day, and I like it always hearing you say you're liking it too. You're liking it too. I'm asking you, what do you wanna do? Do you agree that the world was made for you and me? I like it, I like it. I like the funny feeling being here with you, and I like it more with every day, and I like it always hearing you say you're liking it too. You're liking it too. Whoa, I like it. Are you liking it too?
And I bet you John over in Chester's liking it, be loving it. He is a great fan of Jerry and the Pacemakers. Right, after those 2 hits hit the top of the charts, Jerry Marsden decided to have a little bit of a change of attack, and that came about. He went to the movies, and it was a double feature, and he decided, because he didn't have much to do, he'd stay and watch the second feature, which happened to be the musical Carousel, and of course that was the musical by Rodgers and Hammerstein that contained that magnificent song, You'll Never Walk Alone, and so he convinced everyone that would be their third single, and away was recorded and was a huge hit, and of course the rest is history. That's now the anthem of the Liverpool Football Club, but also many clubs around the world, and is also sung at many different occasions as well. It's one of the classic songs of all time, and Jerry and the Pacemakers started it all off with their version of a great song, and they followed that one up, and this one didn't get to number one, but it's a great song as well. Song written by Jerry Marsden, a song called Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying, and we'll play those two great songs one after the other.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of love. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, for your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk Don't let the sun catch you crying. The night's the time for all your tears. Your heart may be broken tonight, but tomorrow in the morning light, don't let the sun catch you crying. The nighttime shadows disappear, and with them go all your tears, for the morning will bring joy for every girl and boy. So don't let the sun catch you crying. We know the crying's not a bad thing, but stop your crying when the birds sing. It may be hard to discover that you've been left for another, but don't forget that love's a game, and it can always come again. Oh, don't let the sun catch you crying. Don't let the sun catch you crying, oh no, oh, oh, oh.
Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying. Great song written by Jerry Marsden, and he wrote that for his girlfriend at the time, a lady called Pauline, who at that stage had just broken up or was about to break up a relationship with George Harrison, because she picked Jerry Marsden above George Harrison, and they got married in 1965, and she was still married to Jerry Marsden when he passed away earlier this week. So Jerry Marsden and the Pacemakers, they recorded one anthem that is still an anthem and still as well loved as what it was when it was first recorded. And they also recorded another Liverpool anthem, and this one is just as loved now as what it was. The song called A Ferry Across the Mersey.
Life goes on day after day, hearts torn in every way. So ferry cross the Mersey, 'cause this land's the place I love, and here I'll stay. People, they rush everywhere, each with their own secret care. So ferry, cross the Mersey, and always take me there, the place I love. People around every corner, they seem to smile and say, we don't care what your name is, boy, we'll never turn you away. So I'll continue to say, here I always will stay. So ferry, cross the Mersey, 'cause this land's the place I love, and here I'll stay, and here I'll stay, here I'll stay.
Jerry and the Pacemakers here, and a ferry across the Mersey, and John's obviously listening in because he's just sent me a message, and of course John is my brother-in-law, lives in Chester, and has been on this program 2 or 3 times, and a great Liverpool man. And so the message said, the obituary about Jerry Marsden this week said that the song is a great anthem because it describes sticking together when times get tough, trust in the ability of others, and a recognition that better times are ahead. And that's, as he says, just what they need in the UK at the moment. And talking about sticking together and trusting in others, it sounds like the complete opposite is happening across the Atlantic.
It's alright when you say that you're my girl. It's alright when you're holding my hand. It's alright when you say you love only me. It's alright to know that you'll understand. It's alright when you whisper sweet love words to me. It's alright when I'm kissing you. It's alright just to know that you're my girl. It's alright to say that I'm in love with you. Little things don't matter anymore, 'cause you know I love you, that's for sure. It's alright just to know that my love is true. It's alright when I'm telling you. It's alright just to feel the way that I do. It's alright to know that it's alright with you. To know that my love is true. It's alright when I'm telling you. It's alright just to feel the way that I do. It's alright to know that it's alright with you. It's alright to know that it's alright with you. Let's have a little bit of rhythm. Woo! To play real cool and way how it sounds. And if you get the can't help it when you can't sit down, feel like you gotta move around. Eat a shot of rhythm and blues with just a little rock and roll on the side, just for good measure. Need a pair of dancing shoes with a lover by your side, then you know you're gonna have a lot of pleasure. Don't you worry about a thing. Start a dance and sing, and chills don't come up on you. And when the rhythm finally gets you and the beat hits you too, here's a thing for you to do. Come on, hey! I need a shot of rhythm and blues with just a little rock and roll on the side, just for good measure. Need a pair of dancing shoes with your lover by your side, then you know you're gonna have a lot of pleasure. Don't you worry about a thing. Start a dance and sing, and chills don't come up on you. And when the rhythm finally gets you and the beat hits you too, here's a thing for you to do. Here's a thing for you to do. One time, got a shot of rhythm and blues. Hey! Rhythm and blues now.
Jerry and the Pacemakers and a shot of rhythm and blues, and I played that one and the one prior to that to show that it was a band that it didn't only put out slow songs or ballads, and I just sort of pondering where they would fit in the ranking of groups from Liverpool, and in the really early days they were just as popular, if not more popular, than the Beatles, and then the Beatles overtook them, which is no real disgrace, because the Beatles basically overtook everyone on the planet. But where would Jerry and the Pacemakers sit in terms of Liverpool groups in the 1960s? And I would place them at number 2, and I was thinking maybe second equal with the Searchers, but then given the impact of the songs that Jerry and the Pacemakers recorded, I think they need to be at number 2. One of the reasons, obviously, is the stickability or the long-lasting songs that they recorded, but also the variety of songs they recorded and their sound, which was a little unusual, because if you look at a group like the Beatles, 2 guitars, a bass and a drum, and that was fairly common in the groups at the time. But if you look at Jerry and the Pacemakers, they had one guitarist, Jerry Marsden, then they had Les Chadwick on bass, and Les Maguire, I think it is, on the piano, and Freddie Marsden on drums. So they had just a slightly different sound. Right, I will play one more from Jerry and the Pacemakers, and then we'll crack in to the songs that were around 61 years ago, with the time coming up to 28 minutes after 8 o'clock here on Arrow FM, and you're listening to the 60s Nostalgia Show, which is kindly sponsored by Cotter and Stevens, the electrical maestros down in Martinborough. Right, we'll finish off with another song that they put out. Was quite a hit down under in Australia and New Zealand, not so much in the UK, a song called Girl on a Swing.
I stand out of sight and watch as the light from the sun shines through her hair. From yonder she came, I don't know her name, still I love that girl on a swing. Girl on a swing, swing high, girl on a swing, swing low, take all the hate from the world that we're in. Girl on a swing, swing high, girl on a swing, swing low, and you can cast all your troubles to the wind. She comes with the light, then goes with the night. Oh, my heart just yearns, but then comes the dawn and she returns. Girl on a swing, swing high, girl on a swing, swing low, take all the hate from the world that we're in. Girl on a swing, swing high, girl on a swing, swing low, and you can cast all your troubles to the wind.
A Girl on a Swing finishes this half-hour tribute to Jerry Marsden, who passed away on Sunday, aged 78. Right, for the rest of the program, we'll have a look at a hit parade for station WNGM, and that was a station based in New York. And this is for the week starting the 2nd of January 1961, so 60 years ago today. And we'll start off with most of the top 10, and then we'll just play a few songs to take us up to 9 o'clock. So at number 10 in New York in 1961 on the 2nd of January was Johnny Horton.
Way up north to Alaska, way up north to Alaska, north to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. North to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. Big Sam left Seattle in the year of 92 with George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too. They crossed the Yukon River and found the Bonanza Gold below that old white mountain just a little southeast of Nome. Sam crossed the majestic mountains to the valleys far below. He talked to his team of huskies as he mushed on through the snow, with the northern lights a-running wild in the land of the midnight sun. Yes, Sam McCord was a mighty man in the year of 1901, where the river is winding, big nuggets they're finding. North to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. Way up north, way up north, north to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. North to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. George turned to Sam with his gold in his hand, said, Sam, you're looking at a lonely, lonely man. I'd trade all the gold that's buried in this land for one small band of gold to place on sweet little Jenny's hand. 'Cause a man needs a woman to love him all the time. Remember, Sam, a true love is so hard to find. I'd build for my Jenny a honeymoon home below that old white mountain just a little southeast of Nome, where the river is winding, big nuggets they're finding. North to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. North to Alaska, go north, the rush is on. Way up north, way up north, way up north, way up north.
Johnny Horton there, and North to Alaska. That was a theme song to a film that featured John Wayne.
Rubber ball, like I'm bouncing back to you. Rubber ball, like I'm bouncing back to you. I'm like a rubber ball, baby, that's all that I am to you.
Bouncy, 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 bouncy.
Just a rubber ball, 'cause you think you can be true to two.
Bouncy, 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 bouncy.
You bounce my heart around.
You don't even put her down.
And like a rubber ball, like I'm bouncing back to you. Rubber ball, like I'm bouncing back to you. If you stretch my love till it's thin enough to tear, I just stretch my arms to reach you anywhere. And like a rubber ball, I'll come bouncing
my shoulder you do tap.
Bumpy bouncy, bumpy bouncy.
Just a rubber band because my heartstrings they just snap.
Bumpy bouncy,
You go and squeeze me till I'm all aflame.
She calls you by some other guy's name.
Like a rubber ball, like I'm bouncing back to you. 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 Rubber ball.
Bobby V there and a rubber ball. Way back in 1961, I think the old music scene all over the world was varied, to say the least, because they were still recovering from the death of Buddy Holly and Richie Valens, and to a lesser extent Eddie Cochran as well. So if you look at the charts in the early 1960s, there's all sorts of different music, including orchestral. And the next one is a song that was a big hit. Actually got to number one at one point, and it was put out by the German band leader and songwriter Bert Kaempfert and his orchestra, and a song called A Wonderland by Night. And of course Bert Kaempfert was a guy who first recorded the Beatles. Oh dear, and it sounds nothing like Wonderland by Night, so we'll try this one.
my mother called me to her side. She said, son, you're growing up now. Pretty soon you'll take a bride. And then she said, just because you become a young man now, there's still some things that you don't understand now. Before you ask some girl for a hand now, keep your freedom for as long as you can now. My mama told me, you better shop around. Oh yeah, you better shop around. Shop around. There's some things that I want you to know now. Just as sure as the wind's gonna blow now, the women come and the women gonna go now. Before you tell them that you love them so now. My mama told me, you better shop around. Oh yeah, you better shop around. Shop around. Try to get yourself a bargain, son. Don't be sold on the very first one. A pretty girl's come a dime a dozen. I try to find one who's gonna give you true loving. Before you take a girl and say I do now, I'll make sure she's in love with you now. My mama told me, you better shop around. Shop around. Don't let the first one get you. Oh no, 'cause I don't wanna see you with you. Before you let them hold you tight. Yeah, make sure she's alright. Before you let them take your hand, my son. Understand, my son. Be a man, my son. I know you can, my son. I love you.
Shop Around by The Miracles, bringing the time to 16 minutes to 9 o'clock here on Arrow FM, and you're listening to the 60s Nostalgia Show, which is kindly sponsored by Collar and Stevens, the electrical contractors down in Martinborough. Righto, we'll play the top three, starting off with Are You Lonesome Tonight from Elvis, and just coincidentally today would have been his 86th birthday. He was born in Tupelo in the States on the 8th of January 1935. So Elvis, as I said, would have been 86 today.
Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart? Does your memory stray to a bright summer day when I kissed you and called you sweetheart? Do the chairs in your parlor seem empty and bare? Do you gaze at your doorstep and picture me there? Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear,
Are you lonesome tonight?
I wonder if you're lonesome tonight. You know, someone said the world's a stage and each must play a part. Fate had me playing in love with you as my sweetheart. Act one was where we met. I loved you at first glance. You read your lines so cleverly and never missed a cue. Then came Act two. You seemed to change, you acted strange, and why I've never known. Honey, you lied when you said you loved me, and I had no cause to doubt you. But I'd rather go on hearing your lies than to go on living without you. Now the stage is bare, and I'm standing there with emptiness all around. And if he won't come back to me, then they can bring the curtain down.
Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight?
At number 2, we've got the Canadian duo guys that played duo piano, Frianti and Taisha, and the theme to a great film called Exodus. Ferranti and Taisha there, and the theme to Exodus, the film based on the book by Leon Uris, all about the Holocaust and the birth of the Jewish state, the birth of Israel. And that book, Exodus, is probably one of the classic books ever written. All right, 9 minutes to 9 o'clock. We'll have number one, and it's the Shirelles. The Shirelles there, and Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, a song written, of course, by Jerry Goffin and Carole King. Righto, we'll play one more, and this one was actually at, if I have a look at my sheet, it was at number 40 on the top 40, so it was either on its way out or on its way in, and it's Ghost Riders in the Sky by the Ramrods. Number 40 on the New York Hit Parade in 1961 on the 2nd of January. The Ramrods there, Ghost Riders in the Sky, bringing to a close another edition of the 60s Nostalgia Show, which was kindly sponsored by Cotter and Stevens, the electrical contractors down in Jellicoe Street in Martinborough, and first broadcast all over the wonderful Wairarapa on Arrow FM 92.7.